Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from NIFT Technologies, Shane Elwert.
Thank you. Thanks for subscribing. All right, so we're here today. If you're out in the hallways, come on in and feel free to make your way in here. Today we're introducing a little-known company called NIFT. So all of you that are on the live stream, welcome, and in the audience, the hallway, welcome. We're glad you could come today. My name's Shane Elwert. And we formed NIFT just a little bit ago. In fact, that video that you just seen was a early product introduction done by Samuel Joshua. He's here in the audience taking some photography. You guys have a product you want to introduce, make sure you make your way back and talk to him. But we actually set out as a family to build an autonomous shuttle for everyone. And that's why we formed NIFT. Now, I've heard, I don't know if you guys heard this or not, or seen it. If you guys had a chance to walk around the show? Yes? No? Yes, okay. Quiet audience, all right. But I heard that there's a vehicle out there that was built in 120 days. Yeah, it's right behind me back that way. I think it was a tactical vehicle. Has anybody seen that vehicle? Anybody seen it? Yeah, okay, these guys have. Awesome. It's a really cool vehicle. Yeah, we built ours in 100 days. So, yeah. All right. Anyway, no, seriously, we set out to build a driverless shuttle in 100 days. It's actually back here behind you on display in the lobby. You can take a look at it if you haven't seen it already. We're really excited to introduce this. And we're super excited because I think the other company we were talking about has 155,000 employees, and they were able to build it in 120 days. We have just a couple of us and some volunteers, including my kids, and we did it in 100. So anyhow, we're here to actually provide autonomous vehicles for everybody, a development platform. And the question is, why do we need driverless vehicles in the first place? I mean, you know, what's the purpose? I mean, we could just hire an Uber, we could get on a bus, we could go on a train, you know, have your mom drive, I guess, your dad, whoever, your brother, or you could, or we could have an autonomous vehicle, but why? And that's the question that I want to answer today, and I want to answer it with our product as well. We are super distracted. I know that because there's people out in the lobby who are on their cell phones, and they could be in here. But no, actually we're distracted because, sorry, pushed the wrong button, I think. There we go, okay. You know, we're more distracted now than we were a long time ago. In fact, back in the day when there was horse and carriage, you probably could be as distracted as you wanted. The horse would probably take you where it wanted to go. So I would call that low distraction. And probably that may have been one of the early autonomous shuttles. In fact, it was a green autonomous shuttle, emissions friendly and lightweight. So actually we want to copy some things from that. later on, we introduced vehicles to our history, and we start to become a little bit distracted, but not much. I mean, it's just the hum of the motor going down the road, the bumps in the roads, whatever. Not too distracted. But then we introduced cell phones, and now we're on phone calls with our boss, and we're maybe more at a medium to high level of distraction. But something has changed here recently. It may have had to do with COVID, or maybe people just got really creative recently, like this guy right here. And this is what I would call ultra-high distraction. I don't know if you can see that in orange, but I believe this guy is having a board meeting with his board and in his car, living room, seatbelt. I'm not sure what's going on there, but he's obviously ultra distracted. And so we're just too distracted. I mean, we probably shouldn't be driving in some cases. Now I wouldn't say all cases, but these types of cases, we shouldn't be driving. And so that's why we need driverless vehicles. And so we're so distracted, we need a solution, and driverless is part of that solution. But there's a problem, there's a real dilemma here. And the dilemma is, I think I might have pressed that twice, but that's okay. The dilemma is really simple. I don't know if you did anybody see this car out there? It's a Lamborghini something, does anybody know what it, Ventador, okay. I saw the price tag. You guys, if it's out there still, take a look at the price tag, see if you can afford it. And then ask yourself, I wonder if an AV is the same price as this or more, less, what are we talking about? An AV can cost up to what this car cost and more. And so we have to ask yourself a question. How on earth is somebody going to go to a downtown area like downtown Detroit and say, hey, I've stopped for a show, and then I want to go get some coffee. I've already parked my car. I don't want to pull it back out of the parking structure and get onto a driverless vehicle that costs $100,000. And how are they going to afford to do that right? I mean, even this vehicle here, sure, you could probably rent it somewhere for, maybe several $100s a day. I don't know. But I'm guessing that's not what you want to do on a daily basis. So we have this dilemma. We're distracted. We need a solution. And on the other hand, the cost of AVs they're just too high. I mean, even the big companies, they can't seem to find a way to scale it. So I want to introduce you the NIFT QB. And we could talk a lot about the names. I'm an engineer, so I probably named it something that's a little bit abstract, but ubiquity cubed, I guess. We have it all wrapped up into a nice tight little cube in the back there. You can take a look at it. It's our development platform that's designed to solve this dilemma. The dilemma of, hey, we need something to remove our distractions in certain areas, but they just cost too much. And so, one second here. So what's the problem? Let's just go through it one by one. We've already talked about it. The approximate price of an AV. Hi, audience out there in the streaming land. I'm supposed to look out there every once in a while. Approximate price of an AV is equal to probably this Ventador in some cases. I don't think we want to pay that. We're too distracted. We need a solution. We have other options. There's buses, but the honest truth is buses drive around a lot of times, and they're empty. I mean, have you ever seen a transit bus driving through the city and there's one person on it or nobody at all in the middle of the night, whatever it might be? They pollute. They're heavy, so that causes safety risks. They have high speed capabilities. You got a 40,000-pound bus that can do 70 miles an hour. There's some danger to that. Mass and speed are dangerous, and also they put a lot of weight on our roads, which actually can result in deteriorating our roads. And then, of course, there's the tram-style vehicles, which I just learned something. Okay, got a new fancy little device up here. I'm getting used to. But there's a tram-style vehicle, and that device has some really cool features. Like, it's really easy. If you went to an airport, it's really easy to get on and off one of these vehicles. The floors are perfectly flat with the floor you're coming from, and but they're very limited because they're so costly. In Detroit, there's something called the Q line, and the Q line is probably over $100 million plus millions of dollars of maintenance annually. but it only spans about 3.5 miles of road. So it's a great solution, but how do we get past that 3.5 miles? Because there's other places we want to go outside that little area. We'd like to go another mile in another direction possibly. And so this is the problem. We have in these urban areas, we don't want to be distracted. There's lots of people around. There's high-speed vehicles with large mass, and they're polluting the environment and they're destroying the roads. And they have great applications here and there, but we need something to go in between. So what we've done is we've said, what if we could have the best of all three of these, or all of these? I guess there's more than three, but all of these, an affordable AV to start with. Like, this is the biggest problem. Why don't we have AVs? It's not because the technology is broken. It's because they just aren't affordable from the start. And it starts all the way from the development platform to every single part of it, and then the software, and on it goes. And then, what if we could actually have extended routes with the ingress and egress that we see in these trams? Or flexible capacity with a light footprint. So, hey, lightweight vehicles that also can be, spooled up, to pick up just one or a few passengers, as opposed to, 50 or 100 passengers with one vehicle. And then drivers that never get distracted. I mean, obviously that's the goal of autonomous. They never get distracted. We don't have to worry about the safety of these vehicles as much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you the NIFT QB. It's our purpose-driven, our purpose-built driverless vehicle development platform. And we're going to introduce it to you today at something that I think there's nothing out there like it. There's nothing like it from styling, from its functions, and from its price. One of my favorite features here is this tram-like entrance. So we've built the vehicle to actually have a floor height that is approximately the height of a standard curb in the U.S., which means if you're in an urban area, you can roll right up to the curb and you can enter and exit that vehicle quite easily. It's actually quite comfortable getting out. If you want to try it, it's inside the building here in the back. Even though we don't have a curb in the building here, it's still quite comfortable to get in and out of the vehicle. The tram has seating for 4 to 6 adults, and again, this is quite comfortable for 4 to 6 adults. But one of the things we actually designed this for purposely was accessibility. And I think there's a note to take here. I've been wondering this for a long time, and I never really understood why we haven't, as an auto industry, actually produced many, if any, vehicles that are accessible. I mean, these are part of our community. We talk about inclusion and we talk about accessibility, but I don't know of any product on the market today that is an accessible automobile at this point. And so we've designed ours purposely to be accessible. And so this platform is beautiful for actually accessibility, and we've done some testing with this. We're able to get on and off this very easily without assistance, without elevators, without ramps, without somebody locking you in to lift you up a ramp. And I think this is going to be a great feature for folks with accessibility needs. And I think that I think this is an opportunity for the auto industry as a whole to look out and say, hey, why aren't we doing this? Because the folks that need this, they have to go and spend a lot of money, or our federal government has to spend a lot of money to outfit these vehicles to actually be accessible. And so not only is it accessible, but there's space for other people to ride with them. If you have grandma in a wheelchair and she wants to get out, guess what? Her family can sit there back there with her, as opposed to the typical vehicle where you strap into this big, giant, tall van and the family's somewhere else. They don't want to ride in that van. So we want to design something that works not just for, me. We want it to be designed for everybody. And that's one of the reasons we actually developed this vehicle. Because we did this, we were able to actually open up the floor to have a floor space of about 45 by 51 inches, which is super cool because when the vehicle's not being used to pick up passengers, and by the way, there's a lot of people, I kind of laugh about it every time I hear about it. There's a lot of really intelligent folks who say, the way that we're going to solve autonomy with these expensive vehicles is we're just going to like use it 100% of the time. And I'm an engineer, and 100% doesn't mean anything to me. It's like saying, we'll get there at infinity. But 100% isn't a reality. In fact, 20%, I'm not sure that's a reality either. 20% utilization of a vehicle. Go ask Uber. Ask Uber how much utilization their fleet gets. And you're going to find out that it's not 100%. What you're going to find out that 10 to 20% is a good utilization of a vehicle. It's actually probably quite high. So if you're going to fund it by trying to use it at 100% of the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's not going to work. There's not a means or method for that to happen because, for instance, when it's breakfast time, people go to breakfast. When it's work time, they go to work. When it's break time, they go to break. When it's lunch time, they go to lunch. When it's afternoon coffee break, they go to coffee. When it's dinner time, they go to dinner. When it's time to go home, they go to home. In the middle of the night, they're sleeping, unless they're out at the town. But there's a whole bunch of times in between that where the masses aren't going anywhere. And so these vehicles are sitting either empty or not used. And so this platform actually allows us to do something really cool. Not only is it something for, the normal Joe that can walk, but it's also for someone who has accessibility needs. And then when we're not picking up passengers, it's also available for package delivery. This one can be loaded with a 1,200-pound standard pallet that's 42 inches by 48. And so this is really cool because in between, breaks and lunch and workloads, passenger workloads, you can ship goods, maybe even just 1 mile down the road. And not only that, but because of the low floor height, it's much easier to load. I don't have to have somebody operating a lift to actually load that pallet. I can take a standard pallet jack or forklift and drive that right into there, set it down, strap it in, and move on. Now, this is another favorite of my features, and this is the transparent structural shell. Okay? Let me say it again. The transparent structural shell. That's a tongue twister. Try saying it at home. But this is a one of a kind as well. Every part of the exterior structure is transparent, and we did this absolutely on purpose. And the reason we did it was number one, hey, if you're distracted, go ahead and be distracted. This is your time to look out and view the environment or just breathe in some fresh air. So this package you can see in every direction with no obstructions except for the seats and the passengers that are there. And by the way, it's bulletproof. And we actually tested it. And so it was kind of fun, actually. But that's for another time. We're not going to, I thought about this a lot, actually. We're not going to test this today on stage. A feller that you guys all know, he taught us a good lesson that I'm thankful he taught us. So we're definitely not going to throw a stainless steel ball at this, but I guarantee that you can do it and it will not shatter. So maybe we can do that at another time, but definitely not here on stage today, okay? But this is really cool. If you haven't actually seen it, please go back afterwards and take a look at it, sit in it. It's a really, really neat vehicle to ride in. Since this vehicle is going to be so affordable, in fact, instead of trying to develop one vehicle, you can develop a whole fleet. Folks have been talking about platooning for years. But when you have a vehicle that costs as much as a Aventador as a development vehicle and maybe several times more, it's actually really difficult to do things like platooning because, an engineering fleet or an engineering team, of 200 or 400 people might only have 1 or 4 vehicles. And so they won't have, and even if they had 10 or 20, they still would not have the access they need to the vehicles to be able to do the development. And, not only that, we're also really interested in actually working with the universities. In fact, we recently signed an LOI with the Michigan State University for some future development. And I am really interested to see how this can be used for universities. This is something that's going to be affordable for students. This is going to be something that's going to be affordable for developers and even OEMs. Yes, I will be willing to sell this to OEMs that are interested, transportation institutes as well. But this vehicle will allow you, for the price of one of the competitor vehicles, you'll be able to buy a fleet of these vehicles for your development, okay? All right, so in summary, this vehicle, we didn't mention it, it's also green for to reduce the emissions that we have in our urban areas. It has approximately 30-mile range, which is small for some of the large applications, but in an urban area where you're just traveling a couple miles several times a day, 30 miles is sufficient as a starting development point. We will be looking at opportunities to expand that range, but right now the range is 30 miles. And in addition to that, the vehicle has a capacity of about 1,200 plus pounds, which means you can fit 4 to 6 passengers in there. You can fit a full pallet in there, and probably there'll be some more creative developments as well. One of the things we want to do with this platform is actually open it up for people to be able to do their own development. In addition to that, the vehicle's max speed is 25 miles an hour. This is for city. This is for safety purposes. We have an optional 11 mile per hour top speed, and that's also for specific safety purposes for campuses and so forth. When you start to look at speed and you start to look at mass and you start to look at a robot driving around, like some of these semi-trucks we see driving around that are carrying 60,000-pound loads, a little mistake can cost a great deal. And so when we start to talk about mass and speed, we have the opportunity to reduce before we even put the robot on there, we have the ability to reduce the potential, the fatality rate at these low speeds. So this is our introductory price. This gives you a full by-wire platform for $19,900. In this configuration, it's purpose-built for driverless vehicle development, and there's nothing like this out there that you can buy. I will submit to you that if you find me a vehicle that is at this price with these features, I would like to buy one of those. However, from experience in the auto industry, what I found is that these vehicles actually cost at least 5 times this to start. And this is a means to prohibit further development. I want to open this up to everyone. I want to get autonomous vehicles in here so we can take away some of the distractions that we have and allow us to move further in our lives and improve the quality of our lives and for the lives of your family members. In 1 week, these will go. You can order one of these. So 1 week from today, you can order one of these for $19,900. But if you're here today, we're going to go ahead and we can order one tonight, okay? So if you guys are interested, come by. I'd be happy to do that. Or order as many as you like. In fact, I'm sure you can afford multiple for the price of one of the competitors. All right, also, since this is a family project and we wanted to open this up to everybody, our journey is on YouTube, and you can follow us on YouTube. In fact, I don't know if anybody have the time. Is it past 3:30 yet? 3:23. In 7 minutes, our 24-hour day 100 is going to be released on YouTube at NIFT Go, and it's a really awesome. It was a really awesome event. We worked for 24 hours straight. You guys don't miss it. If you guys want to find any information about us or contact us, go to niftgo.com, and that's it. Thank you very much.